Hi everyone, it's me Danielle, just popping on to share about the stuff I've been doing this week. I am actually really excited because on Friday I am leaving to go to Temecula for this upcoming CE5 event with Dr. Stephen Greer. And so next week I'm sure, have something to say about that. I'm pretty excited. Um, there's going to be conferences about controlled remote viewing, which I already do that, but I think, it doesn't hurt to hear about other people's experiences and, and how they do it. So I'll be excited about that. This week, I was going to talk about physical mediumship. So, physical mediumship is the presence of spirit manifesting in a physical way and manipulating the medium. I think it, became noticed. There was in 1880 the Hydesville rapping with these three sisters. They were called the Fox sisters. They started like knocking on tables and getting answers back from spirit, and they realized that they could ask questions and get certain knocking responses. I believe that's the beginning of the spiritualism movement. Um, Another form of physical mediumship is telekinesis, where you can move things without touching them. Now, that one's interesting because I remember as a child, I was always trying to move things with my mind, and I was super confused as to why I couldn't do it. Um, I want to say I spent years staring at things and trying to move them. I don't know. Does that sound like anything anyone else has done? uh, Apport and asport, that is where items appear or disappear physically from our dimension. I've talked about some of this in other videos happening around here at my house, um, but that one's interesting, and I'll get back to that. EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. The spirit voice is manipulating the recording or recording equipment. And transfiguration is another physical mediumship, where people can completely change forms. My dad does this. He's in spirit, but so many times, and I'm not the only one who has seen this. Somebody will walk by, or I'll walk by somebody in a restaurant, and I swear it's him. And when I look, it's not him, but it's like he can change the face of people. Ectoplasm. So ectoplasm is, when I think of physical mediumship, that's where my brain goes. It is in occultism, a mysterious, usually light-colored, viscous substance that's said to exude from the body of a spiritualist medium in trance, and may then take the shape of a face, a hand, or a complete body. It's normally visible only in the darkened atmosphere of a seance. If anyone's watched anything about physical mediumship, that's usually what they show is a medium will be sort of strapped in a dark closet and start using various voices, and then this white stuff comes out. Anyways, there are very few physical mediums that are known about. And a couple weeks ago, my friend Lorelei Drock told me I was one, which I was like, not happy to hear because I don't want ectoplasm. So it wasn't something like I'm like, oh yeah, I really want to go in a dark closet and be strapped and have this white stuff. I mean, that doesn't sound fun at all. And I'm already, hashtag why I'm single. I make a joke all the time because I'm always into all this weird stuff. But I can only imagine if I'm also doing that, like hashtag undateable. But I'm going to share the information for Lorelei in the video description. I know I talk about Michael Shaman all the time because I do see him physically in person. We have sessions every other month. I've been seeing him for 4 years. And if anyone's in the LA area, he's great. I don't know if he's going to ever transition into remote sessions, maybe in the future. But Lorelei Drock, she does a little bit different stuff than Michael, but she does do remote sessions with Zoom, and she's really great, and I highly recommend her. So I have had sessions with many people, and Lorelei is another one of the people that I have had sessions with. And I should probably list all the people that I've had sessions with, so that people who maybe live closer to that person or want to do a remote session, they can hire them. Anyways, Lorelei mentioned to me that I am a physical medium, or I could be a physical medium. And then it's been a couple weeks, but I started thinking about that and realized that I have already been doing that. So I don't hear too many other people doing what I do, which is I have felt my past life deaths, and I'm going to call them past life deaths, even though I know that they are concurrent, and this is probably why I feel them. Um, but on Earth, it's linear, and it would be in the past. Um, so it started when I was 17 years old, and I started dreaming about battlefields, and sometimes even in meditation, I will see what looks to be the last thing I saw before I probably stopped living. And it did start when I was 17. My 20s, like from 20 to 30, I was feeling these stabs in my, torso area for that whole decade. And sometimes, you never know when it's going to happen either. I'll just be walking along, minding my own business, and I'll feel, the stab, and I bend over and blood starts coming out of my nose. So I think that is one way that I have been actually a physical medium. Now, I would love to hear if anyone else ever feels their past life deaths like this. I haven't met anyone else who's told me that they do it. But yes, please, reach out to me if this rings a bell for anyone. Um, so I thought in my 20s that I was feeling this same one brutal battlefield scene that I knew about because I saw it in a dream where there were heads on sticks. And from working with Michael, we've learned that I was Mongolian. B, I was, I was the general of the army for Kublai Khan. And C, my dad was the one who stabbed me, which I knew in my 20s. I knew it was my dad because he always pretended to chop me. And the cut, by the way, was from here to my belly button. So, like, almost in half. But my dad would always chop me. Like, these are things that are called like bleed throughs from your past life when you are doing something that's related to something that you did in a past life. So anyways, my dad would always do that and pretend to cut me in half for fun. Anyway, and also when I told him, Dad, you're the one who cut me, when I knew about that death, he was so mortified, and he said that when I was born, for 3 nights in a row, he dreamt that he cut me. So we knew back then, but then when my dad passed, and I was dealing with that past life death in a Michael Shaman appointment, because I was like, hey, we need to deal with this, trauma, because you want to clear those out. I'm telling you, do the work. Anyway, my dad came to that session in spirit, and we healed that trauma. And he didn't remember being the person that did that to me, but then when we were talking about it in the session, he did remember, and he felt really bad. So we healed it, we forgave it, it's done, it's in the past, right? Well, after that, my dad said he felt lighter because we turned karma into dharma for him. And my dad actually in spirit was able to go more places, travel more places than he could before, where I think he was a little bit more stuck to earth before that. So that was interesting, and that felt really good to be able to help my dad out. So this year, however, I had 4 drownings that I dealt with. One I saw in meditation, and this one is kind of exciting because I mean, the reason why I'm excited about it is because I just figured out who I am. And I'm not going to say who it is. You guys, anyone who wants to hazard a guess, throw it in the comments. I don't want to make claims and sound ridiculous and unbelievable, but I'll tell you the clues because this is what I saw. I saw an old map and a ship cruising around this map in my meditation. And the next thing I saw was a view from underwater, and it was beautiful. I saw, the sun and some clouds in the sky, and it was really beautiful. And I didn't feel very like traumatized about it, but I knew that that was probably the last thing I saw in that life. So I went to see Michael Shaman to deal with that drowning, and this is the rest of the clues. He said I was blonde male. I was really well liked. I was the captain of the ship. He said that it went down unexpectedly, very quickly. So I think there was a rogue wave or something like that happened, or the ship could have hit bottom, but and went down quickly. But then I don't know. I think it was a rogue wave. He said I wasn't traumatized by the death because, and get this, so my spirit animal um, is a seahorse. And when you look up seahorse, they help sailors from, from drowning, I guess. They have something to do with that. But Michael said that my seahorse pulled me out of body immediately. So I wasn't in my body when I drowned. And that's why it was so peaceful and beautiful. So we dealt with in that session the drowning that my physical body did have happen, just to get it healed and off my timeline. As far as like the trauma, you want to get rid of them. But my spirit animal is still the seahorse now. So I don't know if they just like are kind of with us forever. And I'm not usually sure what they do for us as far as being on our team. I always see people's spirit animals though, and they are helpful. They are helpful. So you can call on your spirit animal, and I thought that was awesome. I thought that was an amazing thing, and I love my seahorse for this. So I had dealt with 4 drownings this year. The one I saw in meditation, it didn't seem very traumatic, but feel free to guess and guess who I was. I was so excited. I just figured it out 2 days ago. Um, but so if you guess right, I will let you know. Another time or two that I knew that I drowned and had to go see Michael Shaman was because my mouth was filling up with water and I couldn't swallow it almost fast enough. And I was choking on the water in bed and coughing water out of my mouth. So there's another example of physical mediumship. So I did go deal with a couple more deaths. One of them is really good that I dealt with because after I died, my energy, my I don't know what you want to call it, my little fragment of my energy that was that life, it stayed there in the water and has just been floating in the ocean, like sleeping, not knowing, I guess, that it died. But there were a couple other people with me in the water who also had died and were just floating. And so in that session with Michael, I had to wake up the other ones and get them to move on, because you know how it is. We incarnate with loved ones, our soul team. So chances are they were aspects or fragments of people that are currently in my life. And if you hang out on Earth too long, you'll run out of energy and be absorbed into Earth, which your higher self is a bigger form of energy, so you'll just lose a little bit of that energy. So it's probably not that big of a deal, but of course it's best if we can keep all the energy. I integrated that one. I know when I woke her up, she was about to take off, and I just grabbed and pulled her in. I'm sure that I integrated the other one, the sailor, as well. So This year, I also felt when I was shot in the rib cage with a poisonous arrow. Now, this felt different than all the stabbings. The stabbings were a sharp pain. This one was a sharp pain followed by a burn. And I didn't know, it was kind of like here on the side. And I didn't know why I was feeling it. And I had texted Michael and he said it was a poisonous arrow. And so I don't know what life that was, if it was Native American or somewhere in South America or even Africa. I don't know where they would have used a poisonous arrow. I haven't looked into that one. So, anyways, these are the reasons why I've kind of figured out that I am a physical medium. The other realization that hit me was that my dad was a physical medium. Now, when he was alive, he kept vomiting blood and being rushed to the hospital. And I will admit, my dad wasn't in the best health, but they scoped him many times. They put a scope down to try to find the source of the bleeding, and they never could find a source. I want to say that happened 3 or 4 times. And in the end, that is how he died. He lost so much blood that they couldn't find the source of it, and he bled out. It just recently, so I knew that my mom was Marie Antoinette and that she has been dealing with the health problems from not dealing with, the physical trauma of that death. She's had it bleed through in a couple of her lives where she couldn't talk, and this life she had throat cancer and tongue cancer. But my dad had come around and I did channel him, and he wanted my mom to know that they were married before in another life, and it was that life with Marie Antoinette. So he was the King of France. He was also guillotined, and this is how I was like, holy shit, my dad was a physical medium as well. Also, my daughter, when the fairies take things from us, the golem takes things from us, and we can't find like the TV remote or my Apple Pencil. My daughter actually has been able to still see where the item is with her third eye and grab it on the couch and pull it back into our dimension. So I know she's a physical medium. And I haven't tried doing that yet. I haven't had anything go missing recently that I needed to get back. So next time I'll try it myself. The other thing, and I'm going to show you this. So my house has had things lift and fly around. Now this stick, okay, I'm going to hit the ceiling. It's like, I don't know, 6 foot tall, 7 foot tall stick. This thing lifted up, floated in the air in front of our eyes, well, in front of my friend Hannah's eyes, and hit her in the head last year. Yeah, about a year. So I think my friend Hannah is also a physical medium, and that these things in my house, we get a lot more like not just knocking sounds, which does happen. And if that's considered physical mediumship, we get that. We get electronic things that aren't even plugged in working, and we can ask questions like one blink of the light for yes, two for no, and it will work without batteries, without being plugged in. My dining room bench, which is right here by my legs, it's 4 or 5 feet long. That thing has picked up and been thrown twice this year in my house, as well as this log. So we have a lot of things that physically fly around and move. I mean, my cooking oil on my stove, it just slid and hit a burner, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. So I don't know if it's because we're the ones that are here. I don't know that this stuff happened before I bought the house. But it might be, and especially when Hannah's here and my daughter and I and the three of us are together, it gets quite wild. So that was the things I wanted to share about my experiences with physical mediumship. I'm just learning about it. I didn't want to sit in a closet tied up in the dark and have ectoplasm come out of my face or wherever it comes from. But I do realize now that blood and water and other things already are happening. So, um, yeah. And then there's all the other things. EVPs have been recorded here. The transfiguration my dad does. Um, Upports, sports. I haven't successfully moved anything with my mind, except we do practice with smoke. My daughter and I both, with the incense. And you guys should try this too. You can make the smoke be real straight up, or you can go, okay, mess it up and make it wiggly. You know, we sit there literally on the couch saying what we're going to do to the incense, and then it happens. So there's lots of interesting little things that are actually happening already. So of course, if anyone's got anything to share about physical mediumship, I'd love to meet another person who feels their past life deaths, and hear what they say. The only thing I've been using that for is to know that I've got something I need to clear up with Michael Shaman and deal with another trauma and get that healed and removed from my timeline. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for watching. Definitely check in next week. I should have some good CE5 stories to talk about. And otherwise, have a beautiful week, everyone.